Oh dear. Oh dear, I didn't want to be making this video, to be honest. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new DC News Roundup video. Yes, we're just going into DC today, but to start with, I don't have the greatest news to tell you. Now, I know some of you will say, the writing was on the wall, Boba, and we're going to get into that. And as usual, this video will be time-stamped for the stories that we are covering. Would appreciate a like. It really does go a long way to help out the videos in the algorithm. Just takes 2 seconds. Consider subscribing for more news roundups like this, of course. Especially if you want to hear about stuff like this, which, you know, isn't always what we want to hear. And that is Lanterns, ladies and gentlemen. Lanterns. DC Studios' Lanterns pushed to the end of summer 2026 at HBO. Now, this is being reported basically everywhere. This is coming from the Wrap here. DC Studios' Lanterns is eyeing an end of summer 2026 debut on HBO and HBO Max. CEO Casey Bloys said during a slate presentation in New York City Thursday. An official premiere date will be shared at a later date. So this is very legit. Casey Bloys came out with it. This is why you're probably seeing it reported everywhere. I mean, I feel like, first of all, I jinxed it. Like, you know, but right before this news broke, I saw, okay, House of the Dragon Season 3 stills are coming out. You know, I'm looking forward to House of the Dragon Season 3, seeing Daemon Targaryen there, bit of Rhaenyra, cool. But I was like, you know, if Lanterns is coming out before then, I mean, we should be seeing a still or two before a teaser, before House of the Dragon Season 2. So immediately, I quote tweeted that as I was a bit, like, suspicious of this, being like, where's my Lanterns post? So I'm sorry if I jinxed the universe here, because that's when the news came out. And the reason why I even tweeted that is because there were whispers that Lanterns could indeed be going to after Supergirl release date, to put it in a nutshell there. But then you had that Warner Brothers shareholder letter that literally had a segment about DC Studios saying upcoming DC Studios projects, including Lanterns, which will debut on HBO Max in early 2026. And I was like, okay, all right. That kind of maybe clears it up, but it has felt like a yo-yo because here we are. And I will say this time, it is like, this is going to be it. Lanterns isn't coming out until late summer. Now, this sucks because we're going to get into when could we actually be seeing it, and now when do I think we're going to get our first teaser and even stills like what the House of the Dragon Season 3 is getting right now. But I think it just sucks because now we're not going to have any like DCU content. Like, obviously I'm going to be doing updates on Man of Tomorrow, casting. We've got a little bit of an update on that, which I'm about to dig into in a couple of seconds. So I'm going to be talking about the Batman 2. They're going to be filming going into April, May. But, you know, obviously having Lanterns air its episodes going into Supergirl, having, you know, some DCU content, and also something refreshing that is a bit of a different tone, very clearly, to what we've had in the DCU so far with Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 2. Now, oh no, we have to wait until all the way at the end of summer. So it is frustrating. It really is, because I am a bit biased here, I guess, obviously, because it's my most anticipated DCU thing as of right now. I guess people were right in where they were saying, well, Warner Brothers would be saying this in their shareholder letter, maybe early 2026. You don't really want to scream, oh yeah, we're delaying it until the end of summer, until, oh, that now you can maybe do that, and here it is. So when could we be seeing Lanterns more specifically? Well, to me, it feels fairly obvious now that on HBO, its slot would be after House of the Dragon Season 3. Now, Supergirl comes out June. As we know, this is being referred to as late summer for Lanterns. House of the Dragon Season 3, as far as I'm aware, even from these new Empire images, there isn't a strict release date. Now, the first season released in August, the second season released in June. I suspect that it will be releasing in June. Do correct me if I'm wrong, if the release date did just pop out, but I'm pretty sure it hasn't right now. But second season came out around June 16th, I believe. So let's just say in the ballpark, House of the Dragon Season 3 comes out sometime around June 14th, 16th, 18th. Well, what you need to do there is add all the House of the Dragon Season 3 episodes. That takes us around to sometime around August 12th, and that's somewhere where I suppose Lanterns will be airing. That makes sense with late summer, August, you know, getting into the middle of August, which is so painful. Oh my God, August 2026, and you know, we're still in November 2025. So yes, just to double down here, Lanterns has got to be August in my mind. And so, with that being said, all right, if Lanterns Season 1 is releasing after House of the Dragon Season 3, and after that's had its finale, when will we be seeing the first teaser trailer for Lanterns? Now I'm a little bit doubtful, like, if we're going to get a look this year. Now, I do want to say, just because I'm following a pattern here with what I'm about to say, it doesn't mean that they have to follow it. They could easily give us more than what we've had so far, than that one still this year, right? They really could. But at the same time, the more you go down this thinking, the more it's kind of like maybe they will just really stick to going all gung-ho about Supergirl at CCXP, which again, we're about to get into. And, you know, sure, early next year we'll get a teaser for Lanterns, but for the foreseeable future, the short-term future, Lanterns doesn't really need to be marketed just yet if it's coming out around about mid-August. But if we want to entertain it, if you guys have watched my previous videos, what we need to do is just do a similar adjustment here. The Penguin, House of the Dragon, each had their very, very first teaser trailer looks 6 months before they aired. And so now, with Lanterns being a pretty sure bet to be August 2026, well, yeah, we probably might not get our first teaser until maybe February. I mean, January if we're lucky. I do want to stress that's just me kind of spitballing it there. Again, let's just say February 16th, add 6 months onto that. That takes you to August, like mid-August. So yeah, but I do also want to stress, just because that's the way HBO has marketed some of their other shows, it doesn't mean the same thing's going to happen here. We might be very lucky and get a still or two in the way that House of the Dragon is right now, just to kind of keep people like me from complaining and to shut me up. But for now, guys, this is what it is. This is what it is. So have your fingers double crossed for some incremental updates, maybe stills and stuff like that, but it is wishful thinking, just given how much longer we're having to wait now. Just to reiterate, I think it is valid to feel a bit frustrated, just because, you know, going into 2026, there is going to be a big gap of time other than behind the scenes, like news roundup stuff that we're going to do here, set stuff like, you know, with the Batman, casting updates for Man of Tomorrow and the Batman and other things. But there's that gap of time where it would have been lovely to have had 8 episodes of Lanterns release around maybe, you know, April, May. So basically as Man of Tomorrow and the Batman Part 2 would have started shooting. So we still would have had a bit of a wait. But now having nothing, and when I say nothing, I mean like nothing officially releasing in that first block, I don't know, it just kind of sucks, because it would have been a nicely peppered in year with all of the projects spread out if it would have managed to fit in come the spring. But on the bright side, guys, this means it has more time to cook in post. Obviously, this is a Lantern show. Granted, it's not going to be as spacefaring of an adventure as some Lanterns fans understandably want it to be, given that we're, you know, on Precinct Earth, as Gunn says, and they're investigating this murder mystery that is so important that it warrants the attention of a Lantern legend such as Hal Jordan and a new rookie, John Stewart. So it's going to be quite Earth-based, but that doesn't mean you're still not going to have God knows what pop in there with Lantern constructs, suits, Guardians, maybe actually going to Oa, flashbacks, potential Sinestro. Are we going to be seeing Sinestro in a science cell on Oa? Like all of that stuff. But either way, let me know your thoughts on this. But up next, we need to talk about the one thing that we kind of do have soon, and that is the Supergirl trailer. Something I am very much so looking forward to. As you guys know, I've been behind the casting of Millie Alcock since day one. Supergirl has been set, like DC Studios, Gunn were all so happy with it to the point of where it got expedited into production. So now we are really, guys, potentially just a couple of weeks away from seeing our first look at Supergirl. And who knows, maybe a Jason Momoa Lobo popping up in that first teaser. I don't know if they'd be able to resist that just for the sake of marketing, if you know what I mean. And we have CCXP 2025 December rolling our way very, very soon. The 4th of December to the 7th of December. And looky here, we have CCXP themselves basically showing that the Supergirl film is appearing on the schedule. Now, yes, we already knew that there's meant to be this interactive booth there, but here you can literally see it is one of the main advertised things under Warner Brothers Pictures. We also know HBO Max is going to be there, which is why some of us got our hopes up in terms of like maybe a nugget with Lanterns. But either way, let's shut up about Lanterns. Supergirl, yeah, I don't know how they don't do the teaser trailer. So I feel like I'm going to be on like trailer watch from December 4th to 7th. Like literally just like, okay, just refreshing my feed. Because I mean, maybe I'm being an idiot here. I'm wanting the schedule. Yeah, we know the Supergirl film is going to have a presence there, but I'm going on the website. Right now, we only have some broad things with regards to the schedule. Like, okay, we can see Amazon Prime videos on this date, and that's probably where we're going to get some good nuggets for the boys. But right now, every time I try and see Warner Brothers Pictures or something like that, nothing is on there. But I assume that will be added fairly soon, and then we'll know and have a better idea for the actual day between the 4th and the 7th that the Supergirl trailer could be dropped there, and then, you know, subsequently uploaded online. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel for my reaction to that trailer, and then my in-depth breakdown. We're going to be going full send into Supergirl, and, you know, with that aside, like, I'm genuinely looking forward to having our first peek at this movie, seeing what Ana Nogueira's writing is like with this, and, you know, what that could be like for the Teen Titans movie that she was writing, and the DCU Wonder Woman movie that is being fast-tracked. What Craig Gillespie is going to bring to the DCU, and I want to remind everyone, somebody else, because lots of people pretend as if there's nobody else but James Gunn doing the DCU stuff. This is our first actual peek at some creative variety in the DCU. So keep your eyes out for the Supergirl trailer. I'm looking forward to it. I would love to know what your hype levels are at. Are you really looking forward to it? Like up here, are you kind of like, I think I'm going to be more excited nearer the time. Maybe I'll get up to there, but right now I'm over here. Or you kind of just like, meh, maybe I'll be proven wrong when I see the teaser. And, you know, to be fair, I wouldn't blame if people were kind of reserving their expectations because, you know, that is what a teaser trailer is for. That is what marketing is for. Maybe you're not a huge Supergirl fan. Maybe you're not even convinced by Millie Alcock's casting. But maybe you will be when we get that teaser. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But up next, we have a little tidbit here about Man of Tomorrow, and this is going to kind of bleed into The Batman Part 2. So from Superman Saga News, Man of Tomorrow casting news should be expected by the end of this year or beginning of 2026. Now, this is coming from Apocalyptic Horseman. He clarified and said that, nah, this is not a rumor. I do think we'll know by then. It's just not an official piece of news because it is, after all, just a tidbit. It's not like this is a major story. But this is very, 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 very true. This is why we're hearing things about Brainiac with those casting character breakdowns going out with regards to, is that Maxima? Is it Wonder Woman? So you see what I mean here. Like, we are going to be probably hearing about the actual casting, even if it's not officially released. You might hear it from some more larger trades, for example, about who will be playing Brainiac, and more stuff coming out of the woodwork. This is just how it works, and it's some of my more exciting fan kind of feeling times when you're in pre-production for a movie and you're hearing stuff like this come out the woodwork. You know, one of the best times I feel like in the past few years was the stories leaking out there about Jonah Hill, Colin Farrell playing the Riddler or the Penguin and stuff like that going into the pre-production for the Batman. So this is why it's true for not only Man of Tomorrow, but also the Batman 2, because don't forget, Man of Tomorrow is going into production April, but as Matt Reeves said, they're aiming for April, but it could also be May, slightly going into May. Now, I know a lot of people are also wondering, okay, so if we're hearing all of this stuff about, you know, Man of Tomorrow, the Brainiac news recently, the possible casting description of Wonder Woman, even though it could totally be a lot of other characters at the same time, where is all of this for the Batman? Well, it could just be right around the corner. You know, right now I'm editing a video, the Batman video, and just looking at, you know, the pre-production meetings in 2019, in December before they started shooting in January. This is kind of the mode they're in right now. It's cool to think that they're in the thick of this. And again, as Apocalyptic Horseman says to this user, how about the Batman Part 2? Any word on anything DC Batman related at all, or still no movement? Yeah, they're casting right now. And this is the Batman Part 2. I feel like we'll hear something this year. Fingers crossed. I mean, it's cool. Like, I'm not like praying for loads. I'm just kind of, okay, we've been talking about Brainiac, okay? We kind of know that he's the main villain. Gunn hasn't debunked Brainiac. Oh, we're now hearing casting rumors for certain actors. You know, if we had a little nugget for the Batman Part 2, even if it was just a rumor about who Matt Reeves might be looking at when it comes to a Rogues Gallery villain adaptation for Part 2, that will sustain the fandom easily. So they are basically in the process of this. It just doesn't always get out, but it would be pretty damn awesome if going into December or slightly beyond, we hear something. And I am so ready for that. So ready. But now going back to Casey Bloys, so he didn't just talk about Lanterns, he also spoke about the Penguin Season 2. And this is what I've been saying, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't just kind of like a fart in the wind and it's just disappearing. No, they are very much so still exploring the Penguin Season 2. So from the Batman Saga news here on Twitter, HBO CEO Casey Bloys says discussions for the Penguin Season 2 are still happening. We are talking to the DC team about what a second season of the Penguin could look like. I have an idea for you. I'm telling you, right here. Please watch this video. Mr. Casey Bloys and DC people, Lauren LaFranc, Matt Reeves. I know this sounds really cocky, but I'm so gung-ho about that. If you don't know what it is, watch the video. I know a lot of you do because we have a big Batman community here on the channel. They're not giving up on this. And to be fair, sometimes that's to the blessing and also detriment of things. As you guys know, sometimes when there's success, they don't know when to call it a day. So they will always further explore things, even if they say, oh, we'll only do it if it's worth exploring. More often than not, a lot of companies still kind of try and get what they achieved in the first season. But the thing is here, I'm not saying that's the case for the Penguin Season 2, because I do know that there is more to explore. I'm so confident about that. If they also write it like well and execute it well, the ideas that can still be explored are worth exploring to the point of where I do feel like an audience would enjoy that. But it might also be through that of the form of another spin-off show for another Rogues Gallery character that could very well be introduced in the Batman Part 2. Now up next, this is not something I'm really going to dive into here. I'm sure you've all been hearing about all of the things, like from DC Film News here. Paramount Skydance denies Variety's report that its bid for Warner Brothers Discovery involves Arab sovereign wealth funds. But then you have the Wrap here saying exclusive despite the denials. The Wrap reports Paramount is in discussions to partner with 3 Arab funds, giving CEO David Ellison a stronger case to acquire Warner Brothers and blocking Comcast from cutting a similar deal with this. Like right now, as you're probably hearing, there's all kinds of things going on, like with Saudi-backed bids and whatnot. And now, you know, you also may be hearing things with regards to Netflix. I mean, we have discussing film reporting here. Netflix told Warner Brothers that they will still release their movies in theaters if they acquired a studio. I mean, that's kind of like, yeah, we will for like a week, and then we'll be, okay, look, I'm kind of poking there, but I mean, there would have to be like a clause in the contract being like, you have to, like, if you're buying this, you have to have I don't know, but because I feel like it would be a limited time release kind of thing rather than, anyway, I'm getting distracted here. I said I wasn't going to dive into it full send. Should I do a video getting into everything? The reason why I haven't done an update on this in the past week, because sometimes I hear people say in the comments, oh, funny how you left out this update with the whole Saudi bid thing. It's like, it's not that. Like, this is like, I see a new story coming out every day. I don't really want to post a dedicated kind of, you know, breakdown when it could kind of change. And we are hearing that we're going to be hearing more about the bids very soon. And then as per that earlier original report, like more clarity about the sale mid-December. But I just kind of wanted to say something and ask you guys, would you like me to do a comprehensive as can be video about it? Because I still want to stick to my guns and say like nothing would be happening anytime soon. Like even with a deal being made and an acquisition, that doesn't happen like that. Like some reason people think that everything will just go down the can by spring and like Batgirl, like tax write-offs will be happening. That's just not happening. This is going to be quite a long process, but the future, what could be happening there? Do you want my kind of Boba take on all of that? Either way, that is today's news stories, unless you see a future Boba. I do want to talk about other things. There's things going on with Daredevil. There's a freaking new Stargate series that's been announced. If you didn't know already, big Stargate fan here. And, you know, we might cover that in another video fairly soon. But looking forward to see all of your thoughts down in the comments below. Would greatly appreciate your support by just simply leaving a like, consider sharing the video, maybe even hype it. And obviously, if you want to see more, maybe subscribe today. But until next time, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.